If you look at the strongest lifters of all time, you'll notice that they all have one common feature, which is extreme stabilization strength. So if we look at an elite bench presser, for example, say he can lift 500 pounds, and you make him do a crazy bell bench, which is essentially hanging dumbbells, kettlebells, or plates off a barbell using bands, you will actually see him doing really, really good in the performance. The shakiness is not going to be that much, and he's going to be doing lots of reps. You compare that to a 300-pound bencher, he will get less reps, more shakiness, and you'll see the difference in performance. So stabilization is actually very important when we talk about strength development, and it actually explains why machines are inferior to free weights. If we do a Smith machine squat, it's not going to carry over to your free weighted squat, simply because you are missing out on the stabilization aspect. Same thing for a Smith machine bench press. You are missing out on a lot of gains. Whereas, if you do banded bench press or banded squats, we see direct carryover, direct transference, because now we're actually increasing the intensity of the movement through stabilization. And for those who don't believe me, I would highly encourage you to try using some bands. Double some bands on a bench press, right, and unrack it. If you see yourself doing this, shaking like crazy, that's actually a weak link in the chain. And it's actually explaining why you're not getting as strong as you could be. It's because your stabilization strength is lacking. And guess what? This will also explain why dumbbells are great for strength development. It's the stabilization aspect. You got to stabilize the dumbbells. You'll find, again, going back to the lead bencher, that if you make him grab really heavy dumbbells, he's not going to be shaking. It's going to look like he's doing a fucking Smith machine, because strong lifters are stable. Strong lifters are stable, and stable lifters are strong. It's a direct correlation. Let me give you some more examples by looking at gymnastic rings. You see, if you take a guy who's very strong at ring dips, maybe he could do over 20 repetitions, you'll find that 100% of the time, he could do much more on a straight bar dip. And I think that's just common sense, right? The ring dip requires a lot of stabilization. It's difficult to do. So when you go do it on the straight bar where it's perfectly smooth, you can obviously do more reps, right? Okay, so shouldn't this prove that stabilization is one of the key features of getting strong? Actually, the guy who does ring dips can probably do a fuckload of weight on the way to dip. I've seen people who do exclusively ring dips, but they can do many, many reps. And you make them do weighted dips, they can do like 135, 185, some guys even the 200s. And they're not doing any weighted dips, might I add. But because they're so stable, it's having a direct carryover effect. Now, I know this in myself because I could do a 205-pound weighted dip, right? Yeah, when I do the ring dips, it's fucking hard to do. Like, getting 20 reps is a hard task. So I can only imagine a guy who does exclusively ring dips, and now he can do 20, surely he's going to be a strong weighted dipper, okay? And of course, I'm just giving you like general estimations here. It's not an exact specificity here, but I'm trying to get the point across that if you get more stable, you are going to get stronger. Same thing for the pull-ups, man. Do like front lever fucking pull-ups with the gymnastic rings, and I guarantee you that weighted pull-ups are going to be a joke. And we have seen this time and time again. All these guys who focus on the rings, they're really good at weighted pull-up variations and weighted dips. So that's just another example on how stabilization is the key to getting strong. We see it in powerlifting. We see it in gymnastics. We even see it in fucking calisthenics, bro. If you do planche push-ups, which technically is part of gymnastics, but whatever. If you do planche push-ups, what happens when you go do a regular push-up? It's so much fucking easier because now you don't have to stabilize as much. It even carries over to the bench in some people. Like for some people, man, you'd be very surprised, you know? So that's the point that I'm trying to stress in this video. You need to avoid fucking machines like Smith machine and all these other apparatuses you see in the gym, and instead focus on free weights. And whenever you can make the exercise more difficult through adding bands or maybe including dumbbells of some sort, I would highly encourage that you do so. And you know what's crazy, man? Like we even see stabilization even leads to hypertrophy in certain muscle groups, like the traps. The traps are like the more unstable you can make it, the more sore they're going to get, the bigger they're going to get. Like a farmer walk. What makes walking on a farmer walk more effective than standing still? Well, it's the fact that your arms are actually moving a little bit and you got to stabilize. So this moving action forces your traps to grow even more in strength. Actually, that's what traps do. Traps prevent your shoulders from falling off of the fucking socket. So if you can make an exercise more unstable, theoretically, it's going to be better for hypertrophy. So as you can see, the whole stabilization crap applies to strength development and even hypertrophy in many different muscle groups. I'm not saying it applies to everything, but it's a pretty universal concept if you ask me. So that's all I really want to talk about today, man. Intensify your training. I'm not saying you got to do that functional crap, like standing on fucking Bosu balls and shit. That is not what I'm suggesting. But all I'm saying is, like, if you can make weight training more difficult through stabilization, basically avoiding machines, using bands, dumbbells, all that good stuff, I think you're going to see better strength development for it. And if I'm wrong, how come the Smith machine bench does not carry over to the regular bench, but banded bench carries over. Just something to think about. So remember, the key point of this video is the strongest lifters are usually the most stable, and the most stable lifters are usually the strongest. Hope you learned something. Give me your feedback down below. Do you have experience with this type of training? I want to know. And with that, I will talk to you all next time.